I did indeed. I watched it, but as part of my job. And to be honest, it's not something that I would watch, but just like I wouldn't watch F1 on Netflix, it's just not my cup of tea. But I did watch it, and I can see why people like it, but I can also see why people didn't like it. It was heavily curated, and it was very Instagram friendly, very Martha Stewart. I think a lot of people wanted more of a raw, gritty Meghan, where they can see an insight into her life a bit more, like kind of like what we get with the Kardashians, let's say. But we're not going to get that with Meghan and Harry. They have to really curate their lifestyle because, as you can tell, everything gets picked apart with a fine tooth comb. So they have to be very careful what they put out there.
I'm listening to your love. Does the Meghan stuff make you feel? I know you say it's Martha Stewart like or whatever, but would she make you, bake cakes and do things? There's things that you would watch on it and you would say, oh, that just reminds me of home. That's lovely. That's really, because I can't see anything in Meghan Markle's home that I think I would identify with. That's the thing.
I see what you mean. It is very Californian, let's say. I can see her target audience would be, stay-at-home moms and people who have a lot of time to put flowers in ice cubes. Obviously, that wouldn't be me, but actually watching it, I did feel a bit like, I want to go back to baking, stuff that we used to do in the lockdown, making banana bread and all that. It is quite wholesome.
Yes.
So I did kind of like it, but yeah, it wouldn't be my complete cup of tea.
Okay, but you might have a cup of tea with a slice of cake with her. There we go.
Welcome, dear viewers. Remember not so long ago when Meghan Sussex was lauded as the epitome of grace, resilience and reinvention? She was the breath of fresh air, the unbiased and fair beacon in the UK's journalistic landscape. Her fans were delighted, saying, finally someone who gets it. But now, the tides seem to be turning. The same journalist who was once celebrated for her balanced and thoughtful portrayal of Meghan is now raising eyebrows. The praise has subtly, yet sharply, shifted. The same voice that once celebrated Meghan's resilience is now echoing a more critical rhetoric, questioning her authenticity, motives, even her truthfulness. Fans have taken notice. Social media platforms are filled with comments like, "Oh, here we go again," and "Was the support ever real?" They see this as the same cycle, just a different face, and their disappointment is palpable. This isn't just a case of one person changing their tune. It's a pattern we've seen time and again. Meghan Sussex is lauded until she becomes too successful, too confident, or too quiet. Then the tone shifts from admiration to doubt, from empowerment to skepticism. So, what's really happening here? Is this a genuine shift in opinion, or is it the UK media machine doing what it's so well known for? Lifting someone up to appear fair, only to tear them down when the narrative needs a villain. Fans are making one thing abundantly clear: they're not going to stay silent when the mask slips. They've seen this pattern before and they're not about to let it go unnoticed. This is no isolated incident, but rather a recurring pattern in the way Meghan Sussex is treated by the media, and it's a pattern that needs to be examined and addressed, because if it can happen to Meghan, it can happen to anyone. Meghan Sussex, once celebrated, later questioned, a pattern that repeats itself over and over. This pattern, it's like a well-rehearsed dance, a predictable rhythm we've come to expect. At first, the media showers Meghan with praise. They laud her grace, her strength, her ability to reinvent herself in the face of adversity. It's a celebration of a woman who, despite the odds, manages to shine. But this initial phase of adoration is fleeting, a mere prologue to the drama that inevitably unfolds. As Meghan continues to make strides, as she becomes more successful, more self-assured, or perhaps merely quieter, preferring the sanctuary of privacy, the media's tone starts to shift. The applause lessens. The cheers become whispers of doubt. The narrative changes, subtly at first, then more pronounced. The same qualities that were once hailed are now questioned. Her success becomes suspicious, her confidence misconstrued as arrogance, her silence a sign of ulterior motives. The media, once a platform of praise, quickly morphs into a stage for skepticism. The dialogue pivots from empowerment to doubt. The question is no longer about Meghan's accomplishments, but rather, is she really genuine? This repetitive cycle, this pattern, it's more than just a shift in opinion. It's a systematic game of building up only to tear down. It's a narrative that seems to feed on controversy, on the thrill of the rise and fall. And yet, amidst the roller coaster of admiration and doubt, empowerment and skepticism, one thing remains constant. Meghan Sussex, the woman at the centre of it all, continues to rise, to evolve, to redefine herself on her own terms. It's a roller coaster of admiration and doubt, empowerment and skepticism. But through it all, Meghan remains steadfast, a testament to her resilience. This is the pattern, the cycle that continues to unfold. And it's a pattern that's bigger than just one woman. It's a reflection of the media's treatment of women who dare to break the mould, who dare to step into their power. Women like Meghan Sussex. But what really lies behind this shift? A change in opinion or something more calculated? The question lingers in the air, a puzzle piece in the complex narrative of Meghan Sussex's relationship with the media. This isn't just about a single journalist. It's about the entire media machinery. Is the shift in tone a genuine change of heart, or is it a calculated strategy? Let's delve into the possibilities. Could it be that the media's initial praise was sincere, but as Meghan became more successful, more confident and more quiet, they began to question her authenticity? Or was this shift premeditated, a deliberate strategy to create a villain when the narrative needed one? The latter scenario paints a rather grim picture, but we've seen this pattern too often to ignore it. Time and again, the media builds up public figures, only to tear them down when they've reached certain heights. The narrative is all too familiar, from grace to disgrace, from hero to villain. But why? The answer may lie in our society's fascination with drama and conflict. It's no secret that scandal sells. Stories of downfall and redemption are much more compelling than tales of steady success. As such, it's possible that the media is simply playing into this demand, creating villains where there are none to keep the public hooked. Yet the fans aren't buying it. They've seen the pattern, and they're calling it out. They refuse to accept the narrative that the media is pushing. They see Meghan Sussex for who she truly is, a woman of grace, resilience and authenticity. So, is this shift a genuine change of opinion or a calculated move? The jury is still out on that one. But one thing is certain. The media's mask is slipping, and the fans are no longer staying quiet. They're standing up, speaking out, and demanding fairness in the way Meghan Sussex is portrayed. The media's mask slips, and the fans are no longer staying quiet. Meghan Sussex's fans are not just passive observers, they are actively responding to the media's treatment of her. And the response has been profound. Meghan's fans are taking to social media, blogs, and comment sections to voice their concerns. They're questioning the media's motives, calling out the unfair treatment and showing unwavering support for Meghan. In the age of digital media, fans are not just consumers of content, they're creators and influencers in their own right. They're shaping the narrative, challenging the status quo, and making their voices heard. These fans are not just expressing their support for Meghan, they're also questioning the media's narrative. They're asking, why the sudden shift? They're wondering, is this just another case of building someone up only to tear them down? They're demanding answers, and it's not just about Meghan. It's about the media's treatment of women, especially those who dare to break the mould and challenge societal norms. It's about the constant scrutiny, the double standards, and the relentless need to create villains where there are none. Meghan's fans are showing that they're more than just admirers of her work. They're advocates for fairness and equality. They're standing up against the media's tendency to demonize strong, independent women. They're calling for change, and their call is not going unnoticed. The media is being forced to take notice of these voices. They're being challenged to rethink their narratives, to be more mindful of their influence, and to be more responsible in their reporting. Meghan's fans are demonstrating the power of collective action. They're showing that when people come together, they can challenge even the most powerful institutions. They're proving that fans are not just spectators, they're active participants in the media landscape. And they're not stopping there. They're continuing to voice their support for Meghan, they're continuing to challenge the media's narratives, and they're continuing to stand up for what they believe in. The fans have spoken and they refuse to be silent. And in their refusal to be silent, they are making a difference. They are challenging the status quo, reshaping narratives and standing up for fairness and equality, and that in itself is a powerful testament to the influence of fans. In the face of the media's shifting narratives, one thing remains constant: Meghan Sussex's resilience. As we've seen, the media cycle can be fickle, flitting from praise to skepticism in a matter of moments. But through it all, Meghan remained steadfast, navigating the tumultuous waters of public scrutiny with grace and poise. This isn't to say that she's impervious to criticism, rather, it's a testament to her strength, her capacity to stand tall amidst the shifting sands of public opinion. It's a testament to her ability to reinvent herself, to stay true to her values and her vision, despite the media's attempts to pigeonhole her into a particular narrative. But while we celebrate Meghan's resilience, it's important to recognise the role we play as consumers of media. Each time we click on a headline, share an article, or comment on a post, we're contributing to the narrative, we're shaping the story. And it's crucial that we exercise critical thinking in this process. Not everything we read or hear is gospel truth. Often, it's a simplified version of a much more complex reality. It's essential to question, to probe,